Okay, in this video, we're going to go through Appendix A, creating a frequency table with Excel. We're not going to go through step by step, but rather we're going to cover the basic principles. If you follow this video, you will learn everything that you need to know about creating frequency tables with Excel that you would learn from Appendix A. I have open in front of me the Unit 2 course content file, and I'm simply going to click anywhere inside of this large table. Where I started is just fine. And then I'm going to create a frequency table, or as Excel will call it, a pivot table. And the way that we're going to do that, a pivot table based on the heights of cadets, just so you know, we're headed for that. I start by going to the Insert tab at the top, Insert menu, and then at left I'm going to pick Pivot Table. If your Excel window is too small, then that pivot table option is underneath this small icon. You can pick Pivot Table there. I'm going to have mine larger just because I can see more things. I'll click on Pivot Table, and then a menu comes up. Notice that your entire table is surrounded by this, they call them the marching ants. And that is good. It auto selects that for you, and we're going to leave things as they are. We're going to make a pivot table in a new worksheet. We're just going to hit OK. The new worksheet opens up, and then you have over here at your right a menu system, and the pivot table is going to come here on the left. We want to make a pivot table based on heights, so I'm going to scroll down on the right hand side at the very bottom. I'm going to click and drag height down into this box here in the bottom left called rows. We now see that our pivot table is being formed. Each of these numbers here represents a height of a cadet, 57 inches, 58 inches, etc. And what I want to do is count how many students have this particular height. We could do that by hand. It takes a long time, but Excel can do it for us very quickly. What I'm going to do is grab height and click and drag down to the values section. We are almost there, but notice that this says sum of height instead of what I want is a count of the heights. How many have this particular height? We don't want to add them up. So I'm going to come back over here to the right hand side. I'm going to click where it says sum of height. A menu comes up, value field settings. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to change my menu to, or change my option to count. And while I'm here, I'm going to change the name up here, custom name. I'm going to change it to frequency. This is going to be a frequency table, and then I'm going to click OK. And now notice that I can see how many cadets at the time that this data was collected had a height of 57 inches, 58 inches. So for instance, at that time there were 184 cadets who were 5'10", 70 inches tall. It may be hard to process all this information. There's so many different rows. So one thing we can do is to group them or change the bin size. And so I am going to click on this row labels column somewhere and right click. When I right click, this menu comes up, and I want to choose the group option. By choosing group, following the instructions in the text, I'm going to start at 57 inches. I'm going to end at a height of 81 inches. And then I want to go by 5 inches. 5 inches in terms of height is not super common, but it's going to make for a nice table for us right now. And then I'm going to click OK. And now notice that my table is much smaller. It's easier to see. Effectively, we see there are a certain number, not that many, of relatively short people, some, but not that many relatively tall people, and then there's a lot of people in the middle, especially the largest group is in the middle, somewhere between 5'7" and 5'11". All right. Now this is the frequency table. What we also want or be interested in having is a relative frequency table. What percentage of the cadets fall into this height range? And we can do it very quickly by coming over here to height again and dragging it down below the entry we have here already, which we called frequency. Once again, it gave us a count of height, so it's repetitive, or it's repeated. But I'm going to click on here again, left click, choose value field settings. And this time I'm going to show my values as, and I want to make a calculation. I want to divide or compute it as the percentage of the column total. And that'll give me the percent of the core that's a particular height range. And then I'm going to click OK. Oh, let's change this to relative frequency. All right, so now I can see just above half the core was between 5'7" and 5'11" at that period of time. There are many, many, many things you can do with frequency tables. These pivot tables are very, very powerful. One additional thing that we're going to do is we're going to split this up according to gender. Notice that over here in all my different fields, the top one was gender. If I'm going to click and drag this down to above the values over here, so click gender, drag down to above values, and then release, and now I have this table. It's a little bit hard to understand at first because the formatting's a little bit wonky, but it's not terrible. I have my female columns here. So at that point in time, there were 163 women that were recorded, and 60% of them were between 5'2" and 5'6", and so forth. You can read the rest of the table. Here are the men. There were 1,359 at the time, and then you can see their height distributions here, and then now I have the total. And you can format this if you wanted to and make them all center justified, or what's probably best is just to copy and paste this entire table somewhere else and then do all the formatting that you want and use this for your workspace. But this concludes working through Appendix A, creating a frequency table with Excel.